So in Virginia, we love elections. Virginia is for lovers. Virginia is also for lovers of elections because we have them every single year without fail. For those of you who may be new and don't know Center for Common Ground, we have a number of campaigns. The campaign that really, really put us on the map was our Reclaim Our Vote campaign. And we have, over the history, since we've been doing postcards, sent more than 28 million postcards to Black and BIPOC voters throughout the southern states. And we've got to throw New York in, and we did 2 Wisconsin Supreme Court races, so we've got to throw Wisconsin in. We also are home to the Vote Equality campaign, which our board member, Katie Hornung, runs. Um, Katie isn't as busy with vote equality as she used to be. She is currently a custom print house for us. So we'll be talking about that. We've got an internship program called Students for, they renamed themselves Students for Voting Justice. And we also are home to the Democracy Center campaign, where we have democracy centers all throughout the Southeast. And Adam, I see you are from Tysons. We will be in Tysons with the Women's Summit at the end of this month. Next slide. Our mission is very, very simple. We were founded to educate and empower underrepresented voters in voter suppression states so that they can engage in elections, and also, when there's not an election, advocate for their right to vote. So hopefully all of you know that once a month, normally on the third Thursday, we and our partners, the Workers Circle, run a training called How to Be an Effective Advocate from Your Hometown. The whole idea behind all of this is that together we can build a democracy that prioritizes the voices of all people. Now, my father was from Mississippi, and in Mississippi, they've got a saying, it's on a lot of the big billboards as you come into the state. All means all, y'all. Next slide. All right, the 2025 general election. As I said, early voting has started, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But what are we doing here? Well, Virginia is going to make history in 2025 because Virginia will have a woman governor. And this will be the first time in history that a woman has been elected governor of Virginia. On the Republican side, we have Winsome Sears, who does not have a primary. The other Republicans attempting to run for governor did not get enough signatures to qualify to be on the ballot. We also have Abigail Spanberger, my former congresswoman from the Virginia 7th District, who is running for governor as a Democrat. So, as I said, there is no governor primary. Next slide, please. Now, on the Democratic lieutenant governor side, there are 6 candidates running for lieutenant governor. So we've got Senator Aaron Rouse, Senator Ghazala Hashmi. So these are 2 people that are currently in the Virginia General Assembly. We've got Victor Salgado, LeVar Stoney, who is the former mayor of the city of Richmond. We have Alex Bastani and Babur Lateef. There have been a couple of lieutenant governor candidate forums, and the newspapers have said um, there is not a lot of light between these candidates. Toss a coin, pick the one you like their clothes. These folks are all dedicated and they're basically speaking with one voice. So that one is going to be interesting. There is no lieutenant governor primary on the Republican side. Next slide. For the attorney general, the incumbent attorney general, Republican Jason Myers, is running for his seat again. The Democrats do have a primary with Jay Jones, who is a former delegate, and Shannon Taylor, who is currently the Henrico Commonwealth attorney. So the primaries for our statewide offices are all on the Democratic side. The Republicans have no primary. The Republicans also have the most weak ticket. They have a Black immigrant woman running for governor, a gay man running for lieutenant governor, and a Hispanic man running for attorney general. It will be very, very interesting to see how the Republicans, and we've got a lot of people still left over from the old war of northern aggression, how well they are able to take that ticket. Next slide. All right, now, what are we looking at? What is going on? In our 2025 election, I already explained how all three of our statewide offices are for election. Now, our primary is June 17th. And in our primary, there are all 100 seats in the Virginia State House. There are, and I will remove it from the slide before we send it to you. There are no Senate seats that are up. Should either one of our two senators end up being elected to lieutenant governor, that would trigger a special election in 2026. But right now, it is only the 100 seats in the Virginia State House. Next slide. Now, our election schedule. Early voting has already started. It started on May 2nd and it runs through June 14th. Yes, we have 45 days of early voting. The primary election is Tuesday, June 17th. And then the general election will be Tuesday, November 4th. And again, with 45 days of early voting, we start early voting September 19th through November 1st. Now, people have been asking me what is going on with Congressional District 11. That was Congressman Jerry Connolly's seat, and he died last month. Governor Youngkin has called the special election for Congressional District 11 for September 9th. 2025. The special election could not occur during an existing election day or during early voting. And it also must be on a Tuesday. So that meant there were some limited dates that the governor had to choose from. Plus, they wanted to allow the localities to complete their primary elections before they had to go into more elections. So, as I said, the special election to fill Congressional District 11 will be September 9th. Where is that district? That district is in Northern Virginia. It is in Fairfax County. And we would expect, since it is a Nova district and the largest county in Virginia, we would expect that Fairfax County will remain blue. Next slide. All right. Now, what are we looking at? Right now in the race, there is a Democratic candidate in all 100 districts. Currently, there are only Republican candidates in 70 districts. So that means there were 30 districts where there is no Republican at all. And in those 70 districts, there are some Republican primaries. There are currently yes, the 100 Dems in all 100 districts. No one can remember in modern history where this has happened before. There are 38 Dems who do not currently have a Republican challenger. There are 11 Democratic primary elections for House of Delegates, and there are 8 Republican primary elections, again, for House of Delegates. Next slide. All right, early voting. Currently, now remember, since this is a primary election, when you go in the voting booth, you're going to be asking for either a Democratic ballot or a Republican ballot. So that is how we know how many ballots have been successfully returned. So on the Democratic side, 107,701 ballots have been returned. Look at those numbers, 107, and then they revert 701. The odds of that ever happening again in history are just so low. Next slide. The top early voting districts for the Democrats are in House District 81, which is in Henrico County, a suburb to the west of the city of Richmond. House District, and that is a Democratic delegate primary. House District 80 is in Richmond. There is only the statewide candidates. House District 1 is in Northern Virginia in Arlington County. There is a Democratic delegate primary. There is a 3-way going on in that district. House District 54, that is in Charlottesville, and only the statewide candidates have a primary, as do House District 71 in James City. James City is in Hampton Roads, sort of our ocean side, and House District 93, which is in Norfolk, which is also in Hampton Roads. Other districts that are in this top 12, House District 55, Albemarle, that is the county right outside Charlottesville. House District 78, that is also in the city of Richmond. House District 82, that is in Petersburg, Virginia. In 2023, that race, the battle of the two Kimberleys, and it is going to be a redo. That was a $6 million Virginia State House race. There's not $6 million on the table right now, but they are doing very, very well in early voting. We have House District 5, which is also in James City. House District 57. There is a delegate primary in that district that is in Henrico County. And then there is House District 7, which is a Fairfax County district, which in my mind is voting well for Congressional District 11. They are doing very, very well in early voting in a primary. So I believe they will come out and there will be a very, very, very strong vote for that special election. Next slide. On the Republican side, now remember, they only have 8 state house districts where they have a primary, and 9,572 ballots have been turned in so far. Next slide. All right, I mentioned the House District 82. Kimberly Pope Adams lost by 83 votes. So this is going to be an interesting rematch. The other thing that is fascinating about this district is 46% of this district is Black. Next slide. House District 83 in Emporia. Now, the person that is running, Mary Person, is the former mayor of the city of Emporia. House District 83 is also formerly a Democratic seat that was Delegate Roz Tyler's seat, and Otto Waxman won it in 2021. And now again in that district, it is 38% Black. Next slide. Spotsylvania. This happens to be my state house district. Now, what is fascinating about this race is normally this race is lost in Spotsylvania, always. Historically, it's been lost in Spotsylvania. The name, Spotsylvania. I am rural. We have more cows than we have people. Well, that used to be the case. Spotsylvania now has 5 huge apartment complexes, and a lot of people are coming into Spotsylvania, and they are younger people. The candidate, Nicole Cole, currently serves on the Spotsylvania School Board. And she is very, very, very well known because lawsuits are flying in Spotsylvania over the firing of a former superintendent. There is much drama. And Nicole Cole is one of the people leading the drama, but she's leading the drama for the people, and the people really like her. So this could be another one of those very interesting races. Bobby Orrock is a very nice man. He's a history teacher. I do not know in the 25, 30 years that Bobby Orrock has been in the General Assembly if he has ever passed a bill. I can't even think of very many bills that are memorable that he's introduced. Next slide. Prince William County. Delegate Elizabeth Guzman is running in Prince William County. Basically, it's a slightly new district, but sort of for her old seat. In 2023, she was in a primary for state senate, and she lost that by 50 votes. So Ian Lovejoy has only been in that seat since 2023. Since Prince William County County is in Northern Virginia. This is another race that's going to be interesting. And Elizabeth Guzman is a very, very, very good campaigner. Next slide. All the way out in southwestern Virginia, it's very, very rural. House District 41. Lily Franklin lost by 183 votes in that district. She is the former legislative director for Delegate Sam Razul. When Sam Razul ran in a primary for lieutenant governor, he was the only Democratic candidate in 20 years that actually won in Southwest Virginia. So Lily learned a lot from Sam. Sam went with Lily on the campaign trail. She is a marvelous candidate, born and raised in the district. One of the fun stories when she was campaigning, one of her goats had a baby and it wasn't a very good mom. And so Lily, when she was campaigning, had the baby goat in a truck and she would be on stage talking to constituents with a bottle in one hand, feeding the baby goat. And apparently, the people in the district really kind of liked that. And it showed that Lily was really at heart one of them. Next slide. All right. Now, in Chesterfield, which is where I formerly lived, Leslie Maida was the congressional candidate for CD1 back in 2024. Senator Tim Kaine won that House district in 2024. A very dear friend of mine, Herb Walk, got 45.40% of the vote. Herb is, when he ran, 83 years young. Herb came to the Women's Summit and a couple of other events. He raised $8,000, and that was Herb's campaign. Leslie is an incredible campaigner. So we think this could be another very, very interesting district. Next slide. All right. Henrico County. House District 57 is the only Republican district right now in Henrico County. In 2023, Susanna Gibson was the candidate. She got 48.77% of the vote in spite of a very, very, very big sex scandal where she decided to be a porn star. So we have candidates running. David Owen has only been in the seat for one term. This looks like another very good race. We will be running phone banks for May Navarre on our C4 side. We have a dialer, and that will be next Wednesday. Next slide. House District 75. This is the area of Chesterfield where I lived. So in 2023, Stephen Miller Pitts got almost 47% of the vote. Now, while he is running in this campaign, he is not raising any money. He's kind of going to committee meetings, but we're not really seeing very much from him. The candidate that is really, really, really out there canvassing every day, every weekend, he posts pictures on Facebook with 20 or 30 supporters that are canvassing with him is Dustin Wade, who is a brand new candidate in Virginia. Now, we also have Lindsay Dougherty, who ran against the sitting delegate Carrie Coiner back in 2019. The new version of this district, remember, Virginia redistricted in 2021, is actually more favorably drawn than it was back in 2019. So that's why this is another race that we are watching. Next slide. Chesapeake. This is an open seat. There were 5 Republicans who decided they were not going to run for reelection in 2025. This is one of those seats. Now, this is a former Democratic seat. Aaron Carnegie, who has been endorsed by the seat, seems to be running a very good campaign. This will be an interesting one to see how we do with a completely open seat. This is in Chesapeake, and so canvassing will be covered by our Virginia Beach Democracy Center, which just happens to be right next door. Next slide. We are done with the primary postcard campaign. All those postcards should be in the mail. On July 25th, we will be releasing the addresses for the November general. And we will be postcarding all 919,000 registered Black voters in Virginia. One of the reasons why we think that is so important in this election is I've noticed when Winsome Sears in her television ads says she's running for governor, at no time does she actually say she's running as a Republican. So there really is a concern, and we've heard it from a lot of our people on the ground, that people see her and they think, oh, that must be the Democrat. And no, that is not true. So we will do a postcard campaign where we will list the names of both candidates, and this is the Democrat and this one is the Republican, so people understand who's who. Because it seems Ms. Sears is determined not to tell people what she really is. Next slide. We would love to invite you to Phone Bank with Center for Common Ground every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Now, our national guided phone banks, I frequently refer to them as phone bank training, because Gabe and or our other instructors will be there. They will walk you through how to use the software. They will be online with you for roughly 2 hours. So if you have any questions, you can pop back in. Thank you, Gabriel. Gabriel just dropped the link in where you can go and join one of these phone banks. So again, we are family. Our Center for Common Ground phone bank software is very, very easy to use. Everybody really likes it. So right now we have phone banks up for Chesapeake, Chesterfield, the city of Danville, and Richmond City. There will be even more phone banks after we get done with the primary or the general. Next slide. Now, I mentioned there is 501c4, and I am president of that organization. The 501c4 is National Women's Political Caucus of Virginia, and we have endorsed a very large slate of women. So, next slide, John. There are 35 women that we have endorsed. 34 of them are running for the House of Delegates, and we have endorsed one statewide candidate, Senator Ghazala Hashmi, who is running for lieutenant governor. Next slide. The amazing thing that I love when I look at these women candidates is they are tending toward being on the younger side, and there are so many women of color. When I saw the slate that the Democratic House Caucus put out, there were 13 candidates on it, and 10 of them were women. So women are really doing it here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. There might be one more slide. I'm not sure. Oh, yes. For the C4, we have entirely different phone banks, and we have training on Wednesday at 4 p.m. We are using the Impactive Power Dialer, and it is a power dialer that allows you to leave messages. And because this is a not truly a partisan phone bank, but a phone bank where we are identifying endorsed candidates, a number of our partisan partners will be hosting phone banks on Wednesday. So it will be great to see people really take that dialer out for a spin. Next slide. And I would like to invite anybody that is in Virginia. And Toby, I'll answer that question in a moment. We'd like to invite anybody in Virginia to join us June 27th through 29th at the Women's Summit Power Up. Abigail Spanberg will be there Friday night starting at 6:30. National Women's Political Caucus, since we are a co-sponsor, we will have a hospitality room. Billy Ray is coming in to talk about winning messaging, and it will be a great time for we will be rolling out Center for Common Ground, our new integrated election management platform that will take canvassing and marry it up with ride to the poll scheduling and dispatch software, and also election protection software, all literally under the same tool. The other thing that will be really, really cool about our tool, and we will be demonstrating it at the Women's Summit, is that it's built on an emergency management platform. So that means it has a live communication platform that's built in. And I was really, really surprised. I know there's a number of people on this call where you do protest. And when I talked to the developers, they agreed with me. This is an excellent tool for protest. One of the features that it has, it's just in the software, it's been there for years, is a stoplight feature. So imagine this, our poll workers go and they report the precinct where they're working. They press a green button saying, hey, I'm checking in. They start seeing things that they're not really sure they like. So then they press the yellow button. I'm a little concerned about what I'm seeing. It might not be anything. And then if things escalate, they press the red button. Is on me now. They hit the video button, and now we see what they see on our command center. In the event they lose their phone, we already have the video. All right. So we've been having a lot of fun working on that, and it does other stuff too. I just hit the highlights. Next slide. There might be one more. That's it. Yay. Yay, 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 yay. All right, John, you can stop sharing the screen. And one of the questions that I saw in the chat was, has NWPC not endorsed Abigail Spanberger? Abigail Spanberger has not filed her paperwork for endorsement yet. Again, she does not have a primary, so there's not really any hurry. All right, let's go through questions. Oh, John.
Looks like we just have a question from Steve, just asking about, could you repeat the target postcard audience again?
The target postcard audience will be every Black registered voter in the Commonwealth of Virginia. That is going to be roughly 920,000 people. We have rarely done more than 300 voters, 300,000 voters in Virginia. This is the very first time that we are going for the Black voters.
And when do we want to mail those postcards out? What's the target date?
The mail date is
I think it's,
September 5th. Nancy's here.
gosh, I'd have to look it up. Can we wait till later in the year? But I think it's October 20th.
Okay. Yes.
I think we mail them between September 15th and October 20th. I'll look it up.
Yeah, I thought it was September 15th. That put us a little bit before early voting. Again, that 45 days of early voting just stretches it out so long. You kind of lose track of where you are. All right. And then any other questions?
Couple easy ones. How do we sign up for postcards, and are we texting through Outreach Circle this year?
We will not be texting through Outreach Circle. We will be switching platforms. And at this point in time, I am not sure what the platform will be. It is potentially, we may be using Impactive. We are using their dialer. We may try their texting. There is also texting under Beam Live. So we may utilize Beam Live. I am not really certain. Beam Live will already have a lot of our target voters underneath it. So for canvassing. So I will know probably by the beginning of September what our texting platform will be. What we discovered last year with Outreach Circle is we were limited to sending 30,000 texts a day. And at the end, we discovered a number of our texts didn't really go anywhere, even though we had to pay for them. So we're not doing that again. Any other questions?
None in the chat.
Oh, and there is the mail by date. We start writing July 25th and mail between September 15th and October 20th. If you are in Virginia, you're in the DMV, you actually get to your mail date extends an extra week.
Should we open it up to anybody who wants to
I'm
hop
gonna
on
open it
mic?
up to you. Anybody that's got questions. Banal, do you have a question?
Well, I have a question, sort of, and a comment. I'm so excited to see you, as I always am. But I jotted down the notes 920,000 postcards in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And that makes me so excited because I was reading a report from Catalyst today, and it was a little bit disturbing about how the percentage of Black voters had gone down. So I think everybody getting a reminder with the postcard is probably one of the most important things we could do. So that's truly awesome.
Yes. And again, I was looking at this election and I was going, there's going to be misinformation and disinformation for voters. And again, we already see Miss Earl Sears not saying she's the Republican candidate. And it's like, we're going to need to get out there and get in front of that and make sure voters know who's who.
Yeah, my thing is all skin folk ain't kinfolk. So I think we have to be really clear about that this year.
Yeah. Thanks, Vanal.
Thank you.
Every Friday, there is a phenomenal program put on by the Network Nova and the Cova Women, the Friday Power Lunch. And Vanal is one of the hosts of the Friday Power Lunch. So why don't you drop that link in the chat? And the same folks behind the Friday Power Lunch are the folks behind the Women's Summit. So one of the things you soon discover in Virginia is there's a group of about 20 people where when you kind of peek under the covers, we're sort of behind everything. Or in front of it, depending upon how you think of things. All
We have
right,
one more
yeah.
question. Do we plan to use any test cells this year to do testing of results?
Well, Steve, this is how we test. Since we work with marginalized communities, I don't deliberately hold anybody back. So since our immunity is just going to be, we have you listed as a Black voter. Do I really think we're going to send all 920,000 postcards? No. And the way that the postcards go out is they go out on a county by county basis because early voting locations are on a county by county basis. So what we can do at the end of the election, when we get the names and the information of who voted, we can look at who are the people who only got postcards, because we don't have phone numbers, 919,000 people. So we can segregate those people. The only thing they got from us was a postcard. And we can then look who are all the people that didn't get a postcard because we ran out of time for people to write them. It ends up being a control group, but not I am going to choose to disenfranchise you control group when you're already potentially being disenfranchised. So that is what we do. So yes. So we do have test results, but they're accidental. It's like these are the people that did not get the treatment. We didn't hold it back. We just couldn't get to them.
Looks like all the questions so far. There is one that just popped up. Could we get addresses earlier than the 25th of July? So we have more time to write?
No, because everything's going out July 25th, and that still gives you 2 months to write. 3
Yeah.
months from July 25th to October 20th. Plenty of time to write.
Yeah. So No, we will probably not release anything before July 25th. That will be the date that the announcements will go out. Everything will be loaded in and ready to go. Bridget is asking about implications of the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act is the Safeguard American Voting. And it does everything but safeguard American voting. What's interesting about the SAVE Act is that many people assumed that once you got a real ID, then you would be SAVE Act compliant. Because you need the same background paperwork, a birth certificate for everyone, proving that you were born in the United States, or your certificate of naturalization. However, if you are a woman and you stupidly changed your name when you got married, then you must have an additional document that bridges the name that I use now and my birth name are not the same thing. Well, the people who manage birth certificates tend to be a little more, I'm going to say, careful with their information than the people who manage marriage licenses, because normally people don't use marriage licenses that often as official documents. So for some people, that may prove challenging. And for many women, if they live anywhere that is ish, trying to get your documents, especially if you are older, especially if you were Black and Southern, where until 1966 in Virginia, Black people were not born in hospitals. We were not allowed in hospitals for routine stuff like childbirth. We were barely allowed in hospitals for anything that was like life-threatening. It gets really, really interesting to get your hands on the document. It's also a poll tax in a way, because getting a certified copy of your birth certificate, if you can even figure out who's got one, is not free. It's basically $50. That's where a partnership with Vote Riders is really great. For people who can't afford to pay that $50, they will pay it. For people who don't know how to track down and get a certified copy of their birth certificate, Vote Riders will do that. They will find it, they will pay for it, and they will get it to you. So in the event we end up with the SAVE Act, that now means they are now going into and now we've got to find this marriage license business, because you cannot get a real ID, nor can you get a passport if you have that name changed. Now, a couple of my friends have changed their names back to their maiden names because they could not find or come up with their marriage licenses. So they just changed their name back. So yes, this SAVE Act will be very, very, very expensive. There will be no such thing as third-party voter registration, because you will have to present official documentation, and only the Board of Elections is really set up to accept that. So all these organizations that do third-party voter registration, that goes away. Online voter registration, that disappears, that goes away. There are something like, I forget, 53 proof of citizenship bills that are floating around in various state legislatures. The other thing is there is now going to be no assistance money in the EAC, the Elections Assistance Commission. So that means states are going to have to suddenly fund. Now we've got to get everybody going in the Board of Elections with their passports and all these other documents, and we've got to look at them and make sure they're valid. There will be no extra funding to do this. So this AVE Act, this will be a huge mess. Oh, I love the question. How will we get copies of the slides tonight? Anybody who's signed up, definitely by Monday, maybe by tomorrow, you will get an email that will have a link to the recording of this Zoom, and it will also have these slides. Yes.
We also had a question just
follow-up
about the
email.
postcards that we showed. Will we be able to use those to write this year?
On our postcard page, which I am dropping that in again, Center for commonground.org/postcarding. There are 2 postcard vendors that we use. Vendor number 1 is Vista Print, and they have our older style postcards. Vendor number 2, and this is normally groups that are doing smaller numbers of postcards. That is our board member, Katie Hornung, who owns Sir Speedy Richmond. The new postcards are actually art, and there is a copyright license that Katie holds in order to be able to reproduce that art. So the new postcards are by artist Amir Kadar, Chuck Speary, and I always forget the other gentleman's name. It'll come to me at 3:00 this morning. But again, they are commercial artists who license their work, and they will not license with something like Vista Print. They will only license with someone they know. So the new ROV cards will be available, and it says if you want to order a small number of cards. If you want to order a large number of cards, you certainly can, but the small shop cannot compete with Vista Print's fax. Thank you, Shep Ferry. I've met Shep, and yes. So the new cards, Shepherd Ferry, can't remember the other guy's name now. Chuck Sperry. Their names rhyme. Okay, that should keep them in my head. And Amir Kadar. Love these questions, and I love being able to have time to just answer your questions tonight. This is great. Any other questions? Wow. All right. All right. The next overview will be after the primary, when we know who the statewide candidates are and who our candidates are. Yes, 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 yes. I'm going to stop the recording.